To talk about Don Bede Griffiths. Now, he's not an official saint, but a fascinating character. Now, he's born in 1906. He's born in England, a relatively middle-class family. He goes to Oxford. In Oxford, he studies literature, and he's in a group that gets into aesthetics, the appreciation of both art, but more appreciation of beauty and just being awestruck by it. Anyway, one of his professors was C.S. Lewis. But what's interesting is neither Bede Griffiths, and at that time he was just Alan Griffiths, neither of them were really into religion at the time when he was being taught by C.S. Lewis. So he graduates from Oxford. He then starts reading things like Dante, the Confessions by Augustine, and the Bible itself, and he becomes very just entranced with the whole Christian concept of just exactly what they're saying and this whole way of being. And he gets into prayer, he gets into fasting. In his small house, he's living, I forgot a little town here. Let's see here. He's living in Codsworth. Now, I'm not real familiar with England, but he's in Codsworth. And he's almost, as he's going on and developing more and more, getting more into prayer, more into meditation and fasting, he starts realizing he's really like a monk. And he did become like a monk, except he felt like something was missing. And what was missing was the monastery. So he goes off and finds the Benedictines at Prinknash Priory. And here he became a monk. He had to actually become baptized into the Catholic Church. He becomes a monk. And for the next 20 years, all is well. And he's just doing his thing and praying and doing great things. But then things change in 1955. At that point, there was a call to start a new monastery. And they started it, wanted to start a new monastery in India. And he felt like, oh boy, I just feel a call, I should do this. So he goes off to India. And when he goes there, he is struck not just by the poverty. Now, India at this time, in 1955, is going through a real changeover in terms of their whole culture and everything. But he finds the poverty. He finds a deep spirituality. What does he call it? He says, everywhere there is a sense of the sacred. So as he's bringing Christianity to them, he's finding that their culture has got a certain sense of reception for this because of the sacredness. And he starts a monastery in Kerala, India. And instead of wearing his normal habit, he dresses as the normal holy men of that area do. What do they call him? Sannyasi. So these are those rags that go down and whatever else. He lets his hair go and his beard go. So by the time he gets to be an older man, he's got very long white beard and long hair, and looks very much the part of an Indian holy man or a Hindu holy man. But he's very much Christian. But his view is the fact that if we follow the path, if we could learn from them and they could learn from us, we all can more closely come to God. And what he saw in them was they had a sense of the interior prayer that maybe in the West they had kind of let go. They got into so much of the formalities, they lost some of the interior of it. So he forms this. He forms another monastery that is almost more strict in terms of following things. They actually not only read the Bible, but they read from the Vedas and the Bhagavad Gita. So in Hindu, they have these pushes for following areas of action or areas of knowledge or areas of devotion. And they see three different, what they call yogas, trying to approach this type of spirituality. But what his great gift is he sees the fact that we all can gain when we bring this together, and we can see things even more clearly. And it was a great insight, and perhaps that was setting the stage for, and he did writing a lot of books and then went traveling around the world telling some of these ideas about the fact that we could get a richer spirituality by being more inclusive, not giving up any of our truths, but being open to the fact that we ourselves need to have more interiority than we might have. It's interesting. Some people would say, well, geez, if you're not Christian, poof, you're out. Well, we have to listen to what is taught by our church. In the Vatican Council document, Nostra Aetate, it talks about the benefits of Hindu mysticism and Buddhism in terms of getting some interior gain. It says the Catholic Church rejects nothing of what is true and holy in these religions. She has a high regard for the manner of life and conduct, the precepts and doctrines, which, although different in many ways from her own teachings, nevertheless reflect a way of that truth which enlightens all men. We want to be enlightened. I want to be enlightened. And the way Bede Griffiths led his life, it taught him that not only with his deep prayer, but with his community as well. Toward the end of his life, he found a community, I believe this is in India, it's called, it's Kamaldoli. And this is some monks that are very much into solitary prayer, but they're also into community. And it dawns on me that in these COVID days, we're pretty good at getting the solidarity thing down. We can have more time alone and perhaps more time to meditate. And I know many people that have said their prayer life has actually improved. But the thing we don't have, I don't have enough of, is community. It's like our faith needs to be shared. And I think what Bede Griffiths really tried to do is to share it from wider perspectives, including the Eastern thought with the Western types ways of thinking, and together getting closer to our God. And that's where it is, and that's where the joy is. So let us have a joyous day as we consider having an open perspective to all that might take us closer to our God.